What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where we talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. Movies, video games, comic books, and TV shows. And right now, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts on episode 7 of Stephen King's The Stand, now showing on CBS All-Access. And yes, it is. It is showing and nobody's impressed. Now, to be fair, episode 7 was one of the better episodes of The Stand, but it's still just not that good. Let's talk about it a little bit. So it starts with Abigail sending, Abigail's dying speech, and sending the four out on their walk, including Stu and Glenn and Ray and Larry. Franny is to stay behind. And what I noticed right away about this speech was that it lacked the conviction and the strength and the courage that Ruby Dee gave in her performance in the Stephen King The Stand miniseries in 1994. And what I thought about that was the fist, right? Before she passed away, before Mother Abigail passed away in that miniseries, she had the fist going, and when she was saying, "I know this is what God wants you to do. You must stand," and she does this, and then she passes away, and the hand falls, and you had this certain sense of strength, of conviction and inspiration. Right, where they even discussed, well, when Franny says, "Don't go, don't go," Stu says, "I get the feeling if even one of us doesn't go, this isn't going to go well." And they touched on that a little bit. Glenn, who's kind of the doubter in the group, it was important for him to say, we're doing this on the basis that her God exists, and that was nice. But Whoopi Goldberg's Mother Abigail just had no conviction and didn't have the strength of the previous iteration. So that was the first thing that I noticed. But I have more problems with this episode. But let's talk about some of the good stuff. The walk was great. It was great seeing these four characters that I love walking and interacting with each other, and seeing some peeks into the walk that we didn't get in the miniseries. It answered the question, how they find food, how they get water, where they go town to town and they would scavenge, and I like that. They would even do the math to figure out exactly how long the walk would take. I like that aspect of it, that they explored some things that wasn't necessarily explored in the original miniseries. And again, the interactions were great. Seeing them talk to each other, seeing their friendships develop, and seeing just the way that they loved each other, that was good. We finally got it. 7 episodes in, we finally got it. But it wasn't enough. And that's the problem. It should not have been 7 episodes in before we start to see relationships form between these four. These four are the Stand. They are the heroes of The Stand. And to actually see them start to develop relationships with each other when they've already started the walk, it makes the walk less impactful. We still don't know a whole lot about Ray. She is still the one that they choose to focus on the least. They gave us just enough background about her to support the fact that she knows how to find clean water. I mean, this is a character that they gender bent, and then they significantly reduced the role and the importance of the role. So, like I said, I've said this before, it kind of rubs me the wrong way. So Stu goes down the same way that he does in the book, the same way that he does in the miniseries, and obviously this was a beat that the show had to have. And that's kind of what we get in this miniseries. It's hitting the beats. There's no emotional depth behind them. There's nothing behind them other than Josh Boone feeling like he has to hit the beats. And one of those beats is, of course, Stu going down. It has to happen. Mother Abigail predicted it. But again, it lacked it all emotion. When they decided that they had to move on and continue walking because Mother Abigail prophesied this, I didn't feel any pain, any sadness behind their goodbye. When Glenn and Stu in the book And when Glenn and Stu in the 94 series, when they said goodbye, you could feel the weight behind that goodbye. You could feel the emotion, the sadness, the gratitude, the feeling of friendship, how two people who would have never known each other before Captain Trips became best of friends with the most admiration and respect for each other. And then for them to have to say that goodbye, knowing that they would probably never see each other again, it was this heavy moment filled with emotion in the book and in the 94 series. And in this, you didn't have any of that emotion. First of all, because Glenn has been barely in the whole show. But secondly, because they never explored that friendship. You never got to see the friendship develop because they spent so little time exploring these things. They spent so much time on Howard Lauder that we didn't get any kind of exposition or any kind of backstory on the four main players in the stand. And again, that's too bad. Like I said, since Glenn was barely in the whole show, I felt nothing when they left. Same with Larry. You know, Larry was the one who protested the hardest in the book and in the original miniseries. He was the one who protested the hardest about leaving Stu there. And it was always Glenn who would say, we have to go. And they kind of alluded to that a little bit here, but again, there was no emotional depth behind it. It was just, I've got to hit these beats, so we're going to hit these beats. Again, Harold gets his moments to shine in this episode. I get the feeling that Josh Boone had a little Harold Lauder in him when he was little, because for whatever reason, they've made Harold Lauder the main character of The Stand. And he was always a big player, but it was never about him. He was Judas. Right? Judas is not the main character of the New Testament. Jesus is. Judas was a significant player, but he was a player. And I don't understand this fascination with Harold Lauder. Even he, after death, after dying, he gets his big send-off when Larry reads his journal. And I don't know. I realized that in the book, they found him. And in the 94 miniseries, they did not find him. You know, that Stu was kind of given divine knowledge that Harold killed himself. And in the book, they found him. So this is a scenario where this series sticks closer to the book. But they do it in a way that's like, it just feels like more, look at Harold Lauder. And I've had enough of him. And another thing I didn't like was, man, there's a lot of stuff I don't like in this. Another thing I didn't like was the Lloyd Henry, little 12-year-old pimp wannabe Lloyd Henry. Don't even get me started what they did to that character. Ridiculous, just ridiculous. So they get stupid top hat wearing, cane, monocle wearing, obviously I'm being sarcastic, but not really, Lloyd Henry picks them up, the three, Larry, Ray, and Glenn, he picks them up in a limousine and says, let's go, boys, let's go, you like my clothes? And he picks them up in this limousine, and what this does is this robs us, and it robs the story of that moment when they saw we were supposed to get the three, they see the barricade in the road, and we were supposed to get that moment where they hold hands and they say, I will fear no evil. And we have that moment of courage where they find it in themselves to walk to the barricade. And in their mind, they might be making the stand right now, right? In their mind, they're like, okay, let's go do this. This might be where we have to do it. But from this point on, we're on our A game. And I will fear no evil. I will fear no evil. I will fear no evil. And they willingly make the decision to approach the blockade in the road. In this, though, we don't get that. Lloyd Henry pulls up in the limousine. Hey, boys, want to take a ride? So, I don't know. I don't know. Nadine's transformation was kind of weird as well. We kind of got this weird Edward Scissorhands, Johnny Deppish, what's the word I'm looking for? Tim Burton. We kind of got this Tim Burtonish take on Nadine where she was like, "Welcome to Vegas, boys." It just felt very cartoony, and it felt out of place with the rest of the aesthetic around her. So, yeah, this was one of the best episodes of the season, and it still sucked. I try, guys. I try to like this. I do, because I love the story. I love the story of The Stand. I've already been over why in previous reviews. I've been over why this story means so much to me. And it becomes more and more apparent the more and more we watch that Josh Boone doesn't understand the story. Josh Boone, the writer, and I believe he's the director as well, he does not understand the story of The Stand. He doesn't get it. He doesn't see the big picture. He sees the beats that he's supposed to hit, but he has no finesse and no real understanding to be able to execute the story in any kind of meaningful way. He's just going to hit the beats. He does not understand the story that he is adapting and directing. And that is heartbreaking. And this is becoming a habit for Paramount and CBS, right? We've already seen they clearly don't understand Star Trek. Like, there's no way that you could possibly convince me that anybody at Paramount or CBS understands Star Trek. They just don't get it. They don't get it. It's over their head. They can't grasp it. They want to make Star Trek something that it's not. And now clearly they don't understand The Stand either. They don't get it. They don't see the big picture. They don't understand this property that's been put into their lap. So they try to mold it into something that it's not. And in doing so, they got their beats they're supposed to hit, but they don't understand the story that they're telling. And therefore it comes across as being devoid of any emotion, being devoid of any life. It is just formulaic and beat by beat by beat. And for that reason, shame on you, CBS. Shame on you. This is one of the greatest stories, and you butchered it because you don't understand it. So, yes, episode 7 of The Stand was one of my favorites. But I'm beyond the point now where I'm playing nice, because this has been a bad show. This has been a bad adaptation, and I'm upset about it. So shame on you, CBS. What else is there to say? What did you guys think of episode 7 of The Stand? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your take on it. While you're down there, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I put out a lot of content, and I want to make sure that you're up to date with everything that I'm doing. And as always, thank you so much for joining me here at the OQ Review, where we get to talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. And until next time, we'll see you guys later.